Greetings, future J-Stu. Wow, the last 2 weeks have been crazy. So 2 weeks ago, I moved from Colorado to St. Louis, which is a really long way to drive, by the way. I'm so glad that my brother and dad were able to help me move out to St. Louis. We were able to make it in about one shot, 15 hours. Oy vey. So all I know is I was really tired the next day and a little cranky, and my dad and brother put up with me really well. Once my brother and dad had helped me move my stuff into my apartment, they headed back to Colorado for another 15-hour drive, which is crazy, but I'm really grateful that they helped me out so my dad could get back to work. Well, I started unpacking my stuff and didn't get very far into it, and I ended up just laying down on my bed and sleeping for a few hours. It was great, and I really needed it. Well, 2 Fridays ago, which is a day after I moved out here to St. Louis, I guess I had my priorities in the right place, I'm not sure, but I decided to go look for some comic book shops. That is what makes me feel comfortable in a new place. And so I drove down to a new comic book shop and picked up some new comics. So I started calling up other comic book shops to see if they had a back issue of Doctor Who that I was missing. Well, I find a comic book shop that does have the copy of the comic book I wanted, so I drive across town, which takes quite a while because St. Louis is a big city, and then it took forever to find parking because right next to the comic book shop that I'm going to is a giant arts and music festival. Woo! It was pretty cool looking. Well, when I got to the comic book shop, it turned out that the comic book they had for me was not the one I had missing. That was a bummer. And worse, my phone had died and I had no idea how to get home. So instead of panicking, I decided to hang out at the music festival and look at some art, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I ended up just sitting and listening to some folk bluegrassy music and drinking a spiked milkshake. Well, eventually I decided to head home, but since my phone was dead, I really had no idea how to get there. So I just decided to go in the direction that I thought home was, and I was hoping I would hit one of the 2 streets that I knew the names of that I knew would get me home. So that was really exciting. Well, as I was driving around, I was thinking how interesting it is and sad how segregated St. Louis still is. I noticed this as I was driving from one comic book shop to another comic book shop, and in one neighborhood and out of a neighborhood and then into another neighborhood. I wish the neighborhoods communicated, but it doesn't really seem like they do in any way. I mean, I don't really even understand why they don't talk. Maybe it's easier to hang out with someone that looks just like you, talks like you. Maybe it's just easier to be friends with someone like that. Maybe it's just easier to work alongside and be friends with somebody that looks like you and talks like you. I don't know, but I think it's a bummer. When I was at the arts festival, it was like a city of only white people. And when I go back home to my neighborhood, it is a neighborhood of only black people. And it is really strange that they just never seem to cross those barriers. Dear Dr. King, I know you had a dream and you made a huge change in civil rights, but I wish people were able to take your message to heart. That people would not look at other people's looks, but rather at their heart. The way someone looks on the inside and not the out. There will always be bad people, but that should not stop us from remembering that most people are good. Like it says in one of my favorite books, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, try walking in someone else's skin, not their shoes, their skin. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down there, and if you like this, you can click the like button down there. If you want to subscribe, click on Gizmo My Octopus. Have a good one.